Welcome back to this new tutorial. Today we will construct a cool neon grid using geometry nodes. Firstly, we will create the geometry. After that, we will develop the materials, and finally, we will have some fun with the animation. At the end, I will demonstrate how to create a glow effect using the new version of Eevee. Let's go! Okay, here we are in a fresh Blender scene. Today we want to use the cube, but only for geometry nodes. So let's go right in. Let's create a new one. And what we need at first is a cylinder. And then we need a grid. And as always, instance on points. Let's put the stuff here together. So let's go with the grid in the points. And the cylinder goes into the instance, and the instances now to the geometry. Yeah, let's change here at first the cylinder. I like to go here with a 0.05 radius and 10 in the depth. And now we want to change here the size to 5 by 5 by 4 by 4. And now we need this 2 more times because we want to create this in every axis. This one is the z-axis because it goes straight up. Let's duplicate this one. Let's bring in here the grid into the points and the cylinder into the instance. We need a join geometry node, and now let's pipe this one in. And now we have to bring in another node with the transform geometry and rotate this in the y direction to 90 degrees. And now we can see this one goes straight in the x direction. This one is z here, this x. So bring this one up and let's duplicate this the last time. Let's bring the grid into the points and the cylinder into the instance, and this one here into the join geometry. Let's change this now to 90 in the x, and that's our y direction. Maybe let's write here x, y, and z, so we can see a little bit which one is which axis. And let's create some materials, and for this one we need a set material node. So let's bring this one in, duplicate and duplicate. And for the first one, which is the Z, let's select here the material which is already at the start here. Now we can jump over to shading. Let's rename this to material Z. And we want to use today only here the emission part, so we can turn this a little bit down. And I want to bring down the roughness a little bit to 0.2, so it's a little bit more reflective. And what we need now is a ramp, color ramp. Add this one into the color, and maybe let's bring up here the strength to 10. Okay, what we need now is here some stuff for the mapping. So let's select this one, press N and go to Node Wrangler if you don't have this, preferences here, and search for Wrangler and enable this one. Now we want to add here a texture setup. We don't need the image texture, so let's delete this by pressing X and bring this one here in. Now we have to reconnect here this stuff from UV to object. We can see this looks a little bit better here now, but we only want to map now into the Z value. So what we do now is search for a separate X, Y, and Z and type this one into the Z value. So now this looks much more like we want to have this. And now we can add here some color. Let's change this one here to constant. And I like to bring this one here to 0.4. Let's change the color here. I like to go here with some pinkish, and I want to duplicate this black one here again and change the value to 0.6. So we're having here this little part which is colorish. And now we want to animate this, so we can use here the Z value, and as you can see, when we are moving, or when we are changing here the values, this one moves. Yeah, but we want to have this repeatedly. And to do this, we need a vector math node. Bring this one here in, and we want to use a modulo to repeat this. And when we're changing now this value here, nothing happens because we have to change this z value here to -5. And now when we are moving the z value, we can see this one repeats, which is really cool. The next step, we want to animate here now the node. We need the dope sheet here. Okay, now we want to animate this. The point is, when we're going from 0, we have here a problem, loop problem. So let's go to 5. And as we can see, now we are having these 2 stripes, which we want to have now. And we want to animate from 5 to 10. So let's make the first keyframe here on frame 0. So let's insert keyframe. Let's go to frame 30 and change this to 10. Obviously everything to 10. So let's select everything here, 10, and make another insert keyframe. Now when we are playing this, we can see we are having animation, but with easing. We don't want to have this. So press A, select everything, interpolation mode and linear, and now we are having a constant animation here. Let's loop this by pressing A again for select every keyframe, press Shift and E and make cyclic. Yeah, now we are having here our constant animation, which is cool. So let's duplicate this for the other 2 axes. So let's press on this one here, and we want to go now with X. And for the X one, we only need to change this here to X. And maybe we want to change the color to something bluish. Let's go to geometry nodes and select here the X. When we're going here now with the X material, we can see that this one is grayish. And to fix this, we have to go and search for a realized instance and bring this one in between. Now that looks better. Let's Shift D, duplicate this for every axis here. And now we can go back to shading and everything looks cool. Let's duplicate this one again. And we want to do this now with Y. So let's go with Y, change this one. And I like to change this to yellow gold. And we can go to geometry nodes and select this here for the Y. And now when we're playing this, we are having here our cool grid animation. The next thing is when we want to animate our grid, rotation or some stuff, let's go here with the transform geometry node and rotate this. We can see that the materials are going a little bit off here, as you can see. And here's another fix for this one. We have to use now here a geometry to instance node, bring this one in, and now everything is back on track. Let's change this for now to 0. And we want to duplicate this a little bit. So we need another instance points node. This goes to the instance. And we need another grid here. So let's pipe this together. I want to go with 10 by 30 and 1 by 4. We have duplicated this a little bit here in the y-axis, and now we want to duplicate this to the other side. So let's go with another transform geometry node and a join geometry. Let's duplicate this here again and pipe this one together. I like to change the scale here now to -1. After that, we change here the X value to -5, and here is our grid for today. Let's go into the camera view. So let's have some fun here with this one. Maybe I like to change here the viewport, bring this back. Yeah, let's go with 0 by -20 by 0 by 90 by 0 by 0. And this is really cool, but I want to change here the focal length to 25, so it's a little bit wider. And now we can go back here into our geometry nodes and have some fun with the animation here. Let's change this here to 45. And we can animate here the Z value. So let's go to frame 0 and insert here a keyframe. And now let's go to frame 90 because my animation is 90 frames. And I like to change this here, the Z value to 360 and insert keyframe. If you don't see the keyframes, you have to select here now the transform geometry, press A and interpolation mode to linear, and we want to change the end here to 90 as well. And now when we are playing this one, we have a perfect looping animation. Yeah, we will do this with Eevee here today. I like to add here, maybe let's go to the layout mode here now and press Z. Yeah, let's bring back here the ambient occlusion, bloom, screen space, reflection. We need to change here some stuff, so let's go to the world settings. I like to bring this down to black. And yeah, the bloom is a little bit high, so you can change this if you don't like the intensity. So let's go bring this a little bit down, and maybe the radius, something like this, should be okay. And we have here some light, so let's bring this one to a new position. I like to have a little rim light here on our cylinders, so let's change this to 0 by -7 by 6, and let's increase here the strength a little bit. Maybe some zeros here, and I like to change this a little bit to some blue purplish here. Now we're having here these cool rim lights here on this one. And the last thing is we can duplicate our camera and change this to another perspective here or type. So let's go to orthographic, and I like to change this to 15. And now we have the same animation with another view, and I think that's another interesting view here for this one. And yeah, we are using Eevee here right now. And as you know, Eevee Next is in the pipeline. And for this one, there are some stuff which we have to know. So we'll show you how you can add these glow here in Eevee Next, because everything else should be the same, but the glow or this cool bloom stuff is in the Eevee Next, or then it will be the normal Eevee will be not there, so we have to add this in the composition. So now we are here in the 4.2 alpha. I think Eevee Next will be nearly the same. So when we're going back, this one looks like in 4.1, but we want to change this here now to Eevee. Okay, this is Eevee Next now. Looks nearly the same, but we don't have, as I said, we don't have this cool glow here now. Let's go into the compositing. And we want to use nodes. First, we have to render here a frame. So let's go to render image. This is our frame now. Let's go to viewer here, and let's bring this one image here right now. The only thing which we need now is you can make the cut here by Shift and the right mouse button. And the only thing which we want to use here is a glare node. Let's pipe this one in between. Yeah, that's this is going crazy. Maybe let's zoom a little bit out here. So let's go with this one. And I like to go here now with the fog glow, and now we can see this starts to look like the old Eevee. You can play here with these settings if you like to go with a high quality and bring a little bit up the threshold and play a little bit with these settings, how you like your glow. Or you can go here with the bloom, but I think this one is much too bright. You have to increase this one here a little bit more, and yeah, it starts a little bit, yeah, to go a little bit more into the reddish color here. I like to more the fog glow, but as always, as I say it 100 times here, it's always up to you, so you can go with stuff you like, with all the stuff you like, and yeah, play always with the settings. Keep in mind that you have that this one, the glare node, goes to the composite as well, and when you press now on render image, you will always have these glows here on top, and when you render audio animation, the glow will render out as well. That's it for this tutorial, and I hope you learned something here with the geometry node stuff and the texturing stuff. And if you want to see more stuff like this, please like and subscribe, and write something into the comments what you want to see next. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.